next match on on deck. Sorry, gonna be
We do indeed. Yeah, we'll be looking at, looks like No Creith, No Bow, and Starfish, both teams who went 2-0 in this first round of Alpha Bracket. So, and I believe No Creith, No Bow's been doing really well. They've also they lost only one set yesterday. So I think they're looking like a really strong team. If I'm not wrong about this, I believe they're a pickup. And I know I recognize some of their team tags. I think some of them are from Star Guardians of Chaos.
It does look similar, or at least, yes, it is Star Guardians of Chaos. It is the S copyright, which I'm not sure you're able to claim copyright on team tag, but I mean, it's not up to me. It's up to the copyright office of whatever country you're from. But No Creith, No Bow finishes 5-1 yesterday. In fact, they only lost one game or 3 games total in all of their 6 matches. One to XP Matters and another one to 3 Elves, 1 Santa, a team that did go 6-0. So you have a good resume on your end. Starfish coming in as the clear underdog here. They went 4-1 yesterday. They lost 1 set to the Night Logic and Octa Express. They lose to the Coalition and No Fate. So a little bit to be wary about here, but you do beat Bull Sharks 2-0. So you're looking at this underdog stage and thinking, all right, no, we got something to prove here. You're kind of coming in as the hunter rather than the hunted. So you do have this, like, I like to call it a mental edge, because you think about it like, all right, this is a team that maybe on paper we don't beat, but we started off really well round 1. We got the good vibes, we got the momentum. Let's go ahead and bring it into this next match.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss not to mention Starfish did place 9th in Low Ink 1 month ago for Low Ink November, which was an improvement. They had played also in October and finished 13th then. And also the previous time they'd played Low Ink was over the summer, and they got 51st then. So, they've only been going up from here. So I think we've been seeing they're a team that's been learning a lot over these past 6 months. They may be the underdogs here on paper. And like you said, I hope they're coming in. They see that Maki zones. They're going, all right, we are, feeling hot from that round 1. Let's keep it moving.
Right, and that's the good part, again, about having that 2-1 start. Lots of momentum, lots of good vibes. No Creith, No Bow. Similar start here. You went 2-0 against Octaves, and that was a team that I will say that was one of the one of many 4-2 teams. A 4-2 record seems to be the it seems to be the 50-50 of Low Ink, I like to call it, as a lot of 4-2 teams go either alpha or beta. We've beat Octaves. It's fairly clean record. You come into these 2-0, or you come into this next matchup with another team that went 4-2, but at least this team did go 9th place in the last Low Ink Alpha bracket stage back in November. So you still want to look at them and think, all right, well, this team could still provide a challenge, maybe a greater challenge than what we could have faced round 1, just because that was the one where everyone starts off. But you come into this one thinking, all right, this could be a little more of a challenge. And I actually like the fact that No Creith, No Bow started off with like 2-3 people already ready. They know what they want to come in with. I love that. I love seeing that.
Yeah, and you're just like, we have a plan, we're sticking to it. And I'm hoping for some really good Splatoon. I think Starfish is gonna pull up for this. I'm looking forward to it, seeing how much they've improved over the last few Low Inks that they've participated in. They've only gone up. I want to keep it going.
And no better way to keep it going than by getting a win here, which would be monumental, to say the least. So, great start. Or this is gonna be a great start here for Splat Zone's Mahi Mahi Resort, which is another map if you like flat. I keep saying that. I wonder why.
You know what? We have 2 options in Splatoon. We have flat and we have very not flat.
And you know what? Splat Zones likes flat, so why not start on flat in Mahi Mahi Resort for this round 2 matchup we have heading y'all's way. No Creith, No Bow going up against Starfish eventually.
There we
Now,
go.
and we have Starfish in the teal. No, yeah, teal. Forgot the colors. And then No Creith No Bow in the magenta, and that is a lot of swords coming out from No Creith No Bow.
Yeah, also a fair amount of paint. We do have Dread on both of these teams. Heavy edit over on Starfish. Both teams do have a tacticooler from their anchor players. A lot of paint being thrown around at this point. First points are going to go in favor of Starfish. And one pick down on both sides. That's the slides coming through.
Wow.
No Creith No Bow is going to win that interaction. They're starting to get their points on the board now. And the Decavitator trying to take a lot of space here. And still alive at this point. It is now on Starfish to take advantage of that pick, start moving in. They're making sure not to do so too haphazardly, which I do love to see. Make sure we're going in with that zip caster. We've got the Dread Reef Slider coming in, making sure to cap that zone, and also living through that Reef Slide. Very, very good to do. They're able to cap that zone. Get the hammer pick. Okay, No Creith No Bow. And they've got a really good handle on the situation, at least for now.
And a handle they do have, especially when Starfish starts out controlling the zone for a second there. It was actually a good combination of specials and the timing that they used with the Zipcaster coming out first, try to get some attention away from the zone. Then you have the Re-Slider come in, paint the zone, go ahead and take it back for you. And that funny enough, Paper comes in with the with the Re-Slider there. No dice yet. No dice, however, as many players from No Creith No Bow going down. Starfish still holding on to the zone. But this next zone control is going to be very important for them, as No Creith No Bow has shown to be very much capable of coming back from large deficits, at least with numbers. So you're starting to see some of that come out right now. Kenji with a hammer pick on the edit, and then another one on Starfish. No Creith No Bow now back in control.
Ultra Stamp was thirsty for blood and said, I'm going after you specifically. No Creith No Bow still definitely in a really good spot at this point. They're through penalty points. They're going to try to play for this knockout here. They're getting the picks as they come in, but that decav is going to go down. Multiple going down, No Creith No Bow. Starfish coming in, going to cap that zone with that Reef Slider. And they're cleaning up at this point. They're going to have to hold this for a long time to get the lead, but that is something very easily done on this particular stage.
Right, and that's the good part about this being a flat stage, that it kind of allows for teams to take control so easily. So it's going to be a question of which team does the most with that control, and which team pushes themselves even further. No Creith No Bow, for example, they're doing really well here. You have Paper already trying to pressure the ledges here, which is what Dread is going to do best. But Starfish is going to be the team that sneakily finds their way through every time. I feel like it's always Mark here with the Stamper. If it's not the Zipcaster, it's going to be coming out soon. It's going to be the Stamper, but there's one play for No Creith No Bow, quickly shutting that down. There's a crab on the other side of the map. Starfish trying to pull out all the stops here to get control of the zone back.
Yeah, that's because we have this Dread Ringer over on No Creith No Bow, and because they're already in the lead, they can do, what's called the Reef Slider cheese. They can just make sure they get their special charge ready to go, and whenever they need to apply penalty points and cap the zone, they can just Reef Slide onto the zone, even just take it back from Starfish for a moment, and that's going to slow down Starfish's ability to gain points, because they're going to have to go through penalty points every single time. So Starfish is going to have to keep a really close eye on that Dread. They've been getting special very quickly, consistently, because they know that is our win condition. We can just slide the zone and keep it from them.
And that is going to be the key there. Trying to keep the zone and trying to keep control of not just the zone, but whatever's in front of it. But you can't do that if you're losing numbers left and right like that. Kenji somehow goes down, holding the hammer. And now it's going to be Starfish's lead. 10 ticks to go before they can call it a day. But now Paper and Kenji coming in through the left side here. Is it enough? Not quick enough. Starfish takes game one.
They do. See, Bahi Zones is never over until it's over. I thought No Creith No Bow was going to end up having that with that slide, but it was not positioned on the center of the zone, so it only neutralized as opposed to getting an actual capture of the zone. And that, oh, that is rough if you're No Creith No Bow. Starfish was able to take advantage of that very well.
Absolutely. I knew that the key for both of these teams was going to be what you do with that control. Mahi Mahi, it's forget about taking the zone. It's going to be very easy as long as you have a weapon that one paints and two can fire ink. So great stuff for remembering that basic part of the game. And now you got the next part, which is how far up can you go and how much can you do while going that far up, because it's one thing to send a player down to the enemy spawn. It's another thing if you don't have people there to back them up immediately. So great stuff from both of these teams. I see a few subs coming out as we await No Crease No Bow's counter pick, a spot that they haven't been in today, but no better place to start than against Starfish. Again, a team that even from seeding looks like they should be the ones to top No Crease No Bow, but No Crease No Bow did come out of yesterday with a better record.
Yeah, yes, and you never know with the seeding. I mean, we've got teams that were not seeded high that are in alpha bracket today, so you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the fun thing about low ink is that you can look at all these seed numbers and think, all right, well, it doesn't matter much. I mean, we have a team in we have a team in Polaris Ruins and Brushaholics. Both of them were 45 and 47 seed, but they're in alpha bracket doing better than most of their counterparts, funny enough. So why not just forget about seeding and just see what happens in the game itself? Advice I like to give lots of players and teams, including my very own Cream Corn, a group of people that I babysit more often than I actually lead. So fun stuff from both of these teams. Counterpick still waiting.
Yes. And so I always, when I'm playing in a tournament, I try not to sweat the seeding too much. If I happen to lose to the top seeded team, I'm like, okay, all right, they were the top seed. But going into the match, I'm always like, okay, we're gonna not worry about that. We play this to do our best. We're gonna play to our outs, and what happens happens. But we're gonna play as if we're gonna win this.
And the counterpick comes in from No Crease No Bow. We are going to tower control on a Hagglefish Market. So funny enough, I like this pick because one thing No Crease No Bow was doing really well in our previous set was getting the picks, and they were finding those picks often by playing to the sides. So what better way to build on that and to capitalize on that than by going to a map where the sides can play very well in your favor? I feel like on Hagglefish Market, you have to be watching the sides more than you actually watch the middle of it, because I mean, anyone who's played competitive Splatoon knows that the off angle is generally where you want to be.
Yeah, and especially to have somebody on that off angle doing a team fight with somebody maybe going through the middle of the stage, being able to make a pinch happen, attack from two different areas, so that even if the person on the off angle doesn't get the pick, you're both getting the damage in. So one of you is going to get it. And this map really, really sets up well for, can you execute these team plays well for those picks? I find a lot of teams, mine included, have a really hard time on defense on this particular map mode. It's very hard to stop momentum when you have lost it.
I think the best defense is a good offense for both of these teams. So that's kind of resemblant of what we saw in that first game. I mean, the thing about that first game is that it doesn't look like at either time both of those teams held a solid defense. It was more about like, all right, what do you do and how many picks can you get and how can you overwhelm the other team? It's not like, all right, we can sit here, wait the drops, and we can be able to muff them up no problem. It's really just about what do you send to the map and what do you send towards the zone.
Heading on into Hagglefish Tower in our second game of this match. I would not be surprised if we see a pencil come out. If we see a little snipe rider action.
Nah.
No, oh,
There
but
is
I'm
a
not.
rapid.
Oh, I like it. I like
There
that
is-
rapid.
It is basically cooler if you think about it.
It is, so I think it's the cooler option.
There you go. That's the best way to think about it.
Yeah, heading in Starfish in the pink here. No Creith, no Bow in the green. No Creith, no Bow is going to be the ones to go 3 down. It is only Kenji on that Splatana Wiper staying alive for now. Gonna try to make something happen with the Ultra Stamp, but no. Gonna go down, does not get a trade either. Starfish look like they're gonna secure this first check very easily, and they are heading on in, still getting the picks in on No Creith, no Bow.
And the best thing about Starfish there is that they didn't panic too much, seeing that one, I believe that was a Wiper on the other side, trying to move in for No Creith, no Bow. Starfish seems ever so composed here, even with Kawa getting surrounded by players. Just keeps trying to get that zone, or keeps trying to get that tower past their own no man's land on Tower Hagglefish, which I think is beyond this second checkpoint. And once you get past that second checkpoint, things become much easier for you. So great start here from Starfish. No Creith, no Bow. Lots of space to cover now.
Yeah, that, getting down to 22 in the first minute means Starfish is started so well. If they can keep up that aggression and have the good defense be a good offense, so long as they don't get outplayed here trying to retake their plat. And I would not be surprised if this first checkpoint gets cleared pretty easily for No Creith, no Bow. They're still challenging it, not able to clear it though. That's going to be really big for Starfish.
And Starfish, again, this is a team that just looks so composed, and it's very easy for me to say that and not really explain it. It just seems like no matter how many players they lose, I mean, they're going to go 2 players down here, and Kawa's still trying to make something happen here at the ramps, at the switch. They do jump out, eventually decide to jump out, and for good reason. There are lots of people coming in for No Creith, no Bow. This is where No Creith, no Bow shown last game, and if it's going to be Kenji getting a pick like that, maybe it's going to be good looks for this team who need a lot of space to cover, and they're able to do it very well. Kenji with another pick, but there's nobody on the tower. We need somebody on the tower to keep things going. It's going to start going back, and that's the thing about No Creith, no Bow, is that if you let Starfish get one advantage, they're going to quickly throttle it and make sure you cannot progress any further.
Yeah, I do like, though, that No Creith, no Bow did not keep challenging the tower when they were clearly at disadvantage there. They didn't back up far, but they just made sure, okay, we need to not be on the tower this second, let it back up a little bit. We can keep it going. And they're getting jumps in. They really, now that I think they're feeling desperate. They really want to get that lead here. But Starfish had such good control of it at that second to be like, okay, don't panic, y'all. We do have to move in now, but don't panic.
Right, you don't want to panic because both of these teams, and especially you, No Creith, no Bow, you know you can play very fast here, and you know you can get these picks. A little bit of lag there from the side. If Zor actually survives, they don't survive that, but look at how well Starfish is doing here. It's just Kawa. Kawa's always been the one that's just waiting there and getting the jumps. I love that for Kawa. They don't understand the assignment very well here, and it's great to see another anchor player do so well and look so calm in their own positions. So 2 players going down on either side here. No Creith, no Bow, still trying to find a way through. This Crab could be trying to do a lot of heavy lifting there, but Paper almost gets a pick with that bomb. Nothing there yet for either side.
Ayun able to see, we were talking about, fighting on the sides there. That's what we just saw happen. 2 people going in on a team fight, being able to pinch somebody. No Creith, no Bow has 1 minute to get the lead here, and they are moving that tower. They don't have many more points that they need to clear to get it going. They're going through the switch. A lot of people set up on this tower. Ink is being thrown on that tower. 2 are down, 3 are down on No Creith, no Bow. They were able to get the lead though. They're still getting that tower going bit by bit, down to 19 points remaining. And with 30 seconds left to go, that is a good place to be in. Now the pressure's on Starfish. They need to go full throttle, clear a ton of space, make something happen here at the end.
And something needs to happen very quickly here, especially if you're allowing Kenji to go that deep with the hammer. Zor is on the tower. Does anyone notice Zor? Yes, they do. Good enough. They notice it just in time. One player has to jump out for the side of No Creith, No Bow. Starfish still holding control of the tower. They have nothing but clear space ahead of them. No checkpoints to worry about as the game will be going into overtime. Wow, okay. That Zipcaster somehow survives, but the tower does not. There's the decav. You know exactly what happened there. No Creith, No Bow will be taking game 2. This will be going to a game 3.
That was so close. Those picks were so key for Starfish at the end, but you know, you got to make sure, if you got somebody on the tower, Zor just zipped right straight through there, hopped their butt on the tower, and took that.
And I like, Rose, that you mentioned at some point that these teams, or at least that No Creith, No Bow is being very patient with the tower. There is a visible change in playstyle when you mention that, because afterwards it seems like they're always playing patiently, even when Starfish pushes up very far into their own territory. No Creith, No Bow has everything they need to start that push, get themselves on the opposite side of the tower, and then start pushing it. Further. So No Creith, No Bow. There's like a little switch that flips somewhere in that game, and the result is that they were able to come back and get the lead from what was already a very good lead from Starfish.
Yeah, Starfish had such a good opener there. An amazing first minute that got them down all the way to 22. But what I really, really liked seeing from No Creith, No Bow, that they made sure we're not going to play dumb on tower. We're not doing hero plays where we're just, feeding ourselves into the opponents to be like, oh, but we're so close to the lead. Let's just keep throwing ourselves onto the tower. That is important, but you need to make sure you're playing it smart. And sometimes that does mean, okay, we need to slow down a tad for a moment. Let's just make sure the tower doesn't back up too far. We can keep sort of tapping it for a moment to slow it falling backwards. And now we've got all 4 of us up. Now let's move in. The tower hasn't retreated too far just yet. It is still on the opponent's side, and we can just go in again. And then they got the picks, and then they kept it going.
And so the counter pick came in. Rainmaker, Undertow, Spillway will be the map and mode lead the contest for game 3. The winner of this match will now be facing Anarchy Stars, a team that is on a tear and looking to come back from a second place finish back in November where they lost to. We'll come up with a name later, which still waiting on a name. I think me and Popgun were working on that last month, so maybe Popgun will have some words later on. But Anarchy Stars trying to get that first place win after last month had them coming so close, but no cigar for them. Rainmaker, Undertow, Spillway for game 3, and the winner will be facing Anarchy Stars. But you do have to get past this match, so. And a reminder that this is Starfish's counter pick, so they have to be coming up with something here. There has to be something they keep in mind. And hopefully it's the fact that you notice this switch in the play style like I did with No Creith, No Bow.
Yeah, they're going to want to play something a little bit differently. And I'm looking at the weapons that Starfish plays. I mentioned when we had this counter pick last round, it tends to be a map that a lot of buckets enjoy. We don't have a whole lot of buckets over on Starfish, but I think we do have some weapons that are really good at attacking these ledges. So I'm hoping that this pays off, that it always feels good when you're like, we picked a counter pick and it paid off for us. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Starfish in the purple and No Creith, No Bow in the purple and Starfish in the yellow. No major switches here. Both of these bringing out Dread. Both of them bringing out some form of sword. It's going to be their decav and the wiper for No Creith, No Bow. So no surprises. Again, no surprises there. But both of these teams now looking for a way in. Oddly enough, a bit of a switch from what we've been seeing earlier. One player goes down to the side there. I believe that's a courtesy of Mark. Both of these players at least losing one aside. And it's going to be Starfish that gets the first dibs on the Rainmaker.
Yeah, Alex already coming in here, but the hammer behind the throw hits them. That is not going to be a dunk for Starfish.
What was that, Kenji? What is wrong? I'm even sure that was Kenji. No, it wasn't. But, or maybe it was. But either way, a hammer comes in. I'm suspecting Kenji just because of what they've been able to do with that sword. Now with these decaf gets at least one pick off of Starfish, and it looked like for a second there that Starfish was going to be able to get something going, and at least try to get that within points range. But now it's going to be no Creith, no bow. See what they can do with this French maker, unless the restarter comes really close to stopping it. It did not. Paper is going to continue to move on with this, unless there's a flank there from the back. Is it enough? No, it's not. Not enough to stop, but somebody else does, and that prevents them from the lead.
Yeah, Starfish has gotten control of this back again. Mark has very little paint to work around in terms of mobility, but is doing a good job at least of holding down the area, getting also a little bit of paint down for the rest of the team. Bought some time for everybody to come in. That is both Dreadringers down for both teams here. They're big main painters for both teams. But the aggression has not stopped. Danyun forced to jump out because two other teammates on No Creith, No Bow have gone down. Is this the chance for Starfish to finally get this dunk here? It's getting contested. And no, it is still robbed from them.
And that's funny because this push came from, like you said, not much paint to work with. I mean, they cleared the pedestal, thankfully, and they're actually stopped at 60 remaining, but they're going to continue regardless of that. It's so interesting how much they've been able to do with little paint to work with. Okawa's going to be standing there just a little bit, and that's going to be a little worrying on the side of Starfish, but there's another one. The duelie's coming in, gets 4 more points, 14 remaining now. Nobody around to continue that, but that is a huge push. We have seen No Creith, No Bow come back from this, though, so lots to look forward to as we enter the latter half of the match.
Yeah, I would not count out No Creith, No Bow. They do have about half of the game to get through the checkpoint and also get down past 14 remaining. It's not looking super great, but they did get 2 picks on Starfish. This Dread is holding down this right check. Not commonly the check that people go for. You can also see No Creith, No Bow going for the traditional route of this left side, and the rest of Starfish trying to set up to keep them from getting it. But I do believe that it's going to be a dunk.
It's a dunk, but we wanted to hold on to it just a little bit more for sentimental reasons. But 2 players going down for the side of Starfish. No Creith, No Bow. Remember, this is the team that beat them on Hagglefish just by barely getting enough points to get past the lead, but they don't do it here. There's a lot of players still around, though. Kenji working on this. Dooley's on the side there. 1 player already going down. That's the Dread that has to go down. And oh my goodness, Starfish. Take a sigh of relief here. A huge one, because that... You had to be feeling deja vu there with how well that push from No Creith, No Bow was coming out.
You just had to go, not again, not again, not again, not again. They did manage to stop it this time, but that was close. But you know what? No Creith, No Bow does have that checkpoint cleared, so they can do that again. They're going to have to get more turf into their color right now. But with 2 members in on Starfish, this is a great time for them. They have a lot of space to work with. They're going to easily pop that Rainmaker shield. They're already pushed up a bit far. Zor coming in on the decab, taking some more space for the rest of the team. He's going to go on this little great area, but the Rainmaker carry is going to get taken off here. This is going to be still a staggered push, but No Creith, No Bow could come back.
Right, they could come back here, again, like they did last match, but they have 30 seconds to do it. Time is quickly running out. And when you have a player like Mark on the side of Starfish, there's another extra feature you have to worry about with Starfish, but No Creith, No Bow still as poised as ever to get this past 14 remaining and reclaim the lead. They have 15 seconds to do it. Time is quickly running out for them. Mark trying to make a move down the side there, and it's enough to keep them distracted. 9 seconds to go. They have at least 1 more push with this Rainmaker. If Zor can do anything about it, it's going to be huge. They do not. Dying here, forced to take the Greats, but everyone surrounding them. The Rainmaker goes down before it actually goes down. But regardless, Starfish takes game 3. No Creith, No Bow to the losers bracket, and Starfish to face Anarchy Stars in semifinals.
Yeah. Oh my, Starfish. Oh, must be breathing a sigh of relief because they nearly lost it there. Despite some of the wonkiness in terms of latency and lag, I still think we saw both teams make a lot of things happen. That ending bit, Starfish able to go attack Dayun from opposite sides of that horseshoe grate. I think Dayun would have needed a miracle to survive that.
That's the dangerous thing about the grades there. It is a high risk, high reward situation. If you don't make that push and if you don't get something out of that, then you're just as good as gone. Unfortunately, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, and unfortunately, again, they will be no Creeth, no Bow will be making their way down to the losers bracket. They'll be actually facing with Vivid Wave, a team that we already casted earlier. But Starfish, they're moving on to face Anarchy Stars, the team to beat as far as these matches go. But good news that we have another match anyway fairly soon here, because I believe it is ready to both their teams at least played earlier, and they have won. We see this set coming our way soonish. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been interesting looking at how the bracket's been going. We had two of this the winners bracket round two of those matches going 2-1, the one we just saw, and then also Anarchy Stars taking their match against the Coalition in a 2-1. The other side ending in a 2-0 for both sides of between Three Elves, One Santa, Brushaholics, and Karmacy Colony in the Polaris Ruins. Oh my goodness. Heading into semis, we're going to be seeing Three Elves, One Santa, and Polaris Ruins, by the way.